Hello, you are listening to Just Films and That. This is the podcast where we celebrate films we think deserve a little bit more love. Whether they're underrated or underseen, we're going to tackle them one film at a time. I'm the host, Josh Hallam, and I'm joined as ever by Jamie Allen, my co-host. Jamie Allen, how are you today? Excited to talk about some food?
Bonjour, as we all speak in French.
Bon appetit.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah.
Oui.
Entrepreneur, that's one, isn't it? That's a French
Entrepreneur,
word.
that's where they don't cook it, isn't it?
People are going to think we're talking about a French film.
Yeah.
We're not. We're talking about Burnt from 2015. If you've not seen it, so spoiler warnings for that. Before we get into it, if you could head on over to whatever app you're listening to this on and give us a 5-star rating and a little review whilst you're there, it'd be really, really appreciated. It'd help us get our 3rd Michelin star, which of course they give to people and not restaurants.
Don't rate us 3 stars.
Don't rate us 3 stars. Give us 5 stars. 5 Michelin stars, please. Even though neither of us could cook. I can do a mean pot noodle. But anyway, no, I can't cook. And so could Jamie.
That's the real thing you don't want out there in the
That's the real thing I don't want out there.
I actually can't cook. So
yeah, well, we're both men of the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, Burnt, Jamie, from 2015. Had you seen this one before? We'll get into what it's about in a minute. Have you seen this one before? Bradley Cooper, but he's a chef that's an arsehole?
No, this is a fresh watch for me. I didn't know anything about it. I'd seen like a couple of clips on TikTok, so I was excited to watch it. This was your pick, Josh. So
yes.
why did you pick this for us?
So why did I pick this one? I think it is underrated and underseen. It is flawed. I'm going into that for this to say I think it's all right. I think it's decent. The scores are not good. But I don't think it's as bad as it suggests. But there are issues with it, which we will get into. If you've not seen it before, I mean, I summed it up there with a sentence, really. Bradley Cooper, he's a chef, but he's an arsehole. But yeah, basically, Bradley Cooper plays a sort of enfant terrible chef of the restaurant scene, one of the best chefs in the world. You are led to believe in the film that he's had all sorts of issues with his behaviour and substance abuses, so he's taken himself off to get himself clean and sober. He comes back onto the scene to try and redeem himself, and the whole film is basically him redeeming himself, learning to love cooking again, and it's sort of about what drives him and basically, learning to be a family with those in the kitchen. Yeah, there's loads of things it's about, but basically it's Bradley Cooper. He's a chef who's an arsehole. So we'll get stuck into it then. So underrated, I think it's underrated and underseen, if a little bit flawed. We'll start with what we liked about it. If you've not listened before, if you've come here because you're a fan of the film Burnt, then we start with what we liked about it, move on to what we didn't like about it, then we'll look at that critical reception, that box office, and see if it is underrated, if it is underseen. Jamie, do you want me to go first, or do you want you to go first with what you liked about it?
I've only got one line for
Some of the food looks great.
Do you know what? I'll let you go first on I'll preempt you with this, right? Is that I don't like cooking movies. So this isn't.
Oh, really?
This isn't one of those where I'm like, Josh, you're completely way out of line and you picked a shit film. I think that you're already pushing a boulder uphill with me on this. Because I just think most high profile chefs are such arrogant pricks.
Yeah.
And do you know when you see them movies where they're in the kitchen and they're like, I want you to fucking do this and fucking burn, mate.
Yeah.
And you're
like the film Burn that we're talking about right now.
And you just want to go, mate, it's just food. Chill out.
Yeah.
But this is your chance.
That's Jamie Allen there. That's Jamie Allen. That's comedian Jamie Allen there calling all chefs arrogant pricks.
If you've seen my stand-up...
If you're a chef and Jamie walks into your restaurant, spit in it.
I cannot afford to go to the restaurants that they
Not these sorts of restaurants, no. If you work at a Toby Carvery...
if you found your MBQ and I come in... But what did you like about this film, Josh?
Okay, so I think there's loads to like about here. I will agree with you that there's this idea of chefs are arrogant. Chefs can be difficult chefs. I've worked in kitchens with difficult chefs and things like that. They can be arrogant pricks, right? What I'm interested in a film like this, and I will compare it to a film that is much, much better, which is Whiplash, right? Whiplash is much, much better, which is how far are you willing to go to be part of the elite? How far are you willing to go to be the best? That's what I'm interested in this. And I'm also interested in this idea. Well, I'll get into it. I think there's loads of good ideas in this. So I think there's loads of good ideas around Bradley Cooper's character, who's called Adam, around that idea of serving your penance, but at the same time reaping what you sow, whilst also looking for redemption, closing yourself off to people, letting people help you, because you've essentially become this caricature, or if you become this person wearing such a thick suit of armor, metaphorical armor, as it were, that you won't let people around you help you, when the very thing you need in a kitchen, in a team environment, is for the team to come together and is for the team to help you and things like that. So I enjoy the exploration of those themes in this film. I enjoy that idea of what drives you, what are you willing to sacrifice to be the best, what it takes to be at your best. I like, one thing that I do like about this is he's a prick in a really unabashed way. He has some really out of order behavior to the point where I'd forgotten about one particular scene, which we'll come back to, which maybe in the dislikes of, is that too far? But I think that's the point. How far are people willing to go to work with this guy?
When he doesn't let Sienna Miller take her daughter's birthday off?
It's when he won't make a birthday cake for a little girl. No, there is a scene, for example, where he literally grabs Sienna Miller by the scruff of her clothes. And that is like, woof. But if you read things like, if you read Marco Pierre White's autobiographies or books about chefs, you will hear stories about things like them literally getting into fights with customers or chefs saying they're too hot. I've heard a story about a chef who I think it is Marco Pierre White, but I'm not sure, and I'm not sure this is true. So just put it out there for that reason. But I'm sure I heard someone say a chef said they were too hot, so he took a knife and he cut their chef's whites open at the back.
I'll confirm that it was definitely Marco Pierre White. Yeah. And we had just filmed that.
This week we're sponsored by no, but I'm a big I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm interested to know what makes people put up with that behavior and what makes people act that way in a sort of study of the human condition sort of way. So I completely get that some people won't see it. I remember watching Whiplash with some people and them going, why don't you just tell him to fuck off? Why wouldn't you just walk out the room? And it's like, because to get to where he wants to be, this is the pile of shit he's got to eat. Do you know what I mean? And that's the sort of thing. And I was like, I find that a really interesting dynamic. I find that a really interesting thing, and it's present across every field. This is about cooking. Whiplash is about music. There are ones out there about sport and what people have to do for sport, acting, things like that. There's loads of them. So I'm really interested in this as an exploration of flawed characters, but I don't condone it. Ultimately you are your choices. Ultimately you are our actions, but I do find it interesting as to what drives people. So I am interested in that in terms of the ideas. Do you want me to move on, or do you want to come back to me on the ideas?
No, I wasn't listening to no. No, I agree that I like that they make him so unlikable, and he is such a massive prick, and it's not a huge turn. He's still kind of a dick toward the end. He goes and eats with the group as a family, but he hasn't
speak to them and stuff.
Yeah, it's not. I thought I was going to see him apologize to Sienna Miller for not giving her the day off, but he still fully believes that's what's going to make her a better chef.
Yeah.
It's fair play for having the character be such an arrogant prick. Yeah, and like you said, he knows it as well. Like they do quite well at the start when he's talking to the. I don't know if he's a sous chef or the younger lad, and he's like, "Would you pay me?"
The Irish lad who said he says you're not arrogant enough.
Yeah.
That's a really common TikTok clip.
Yeah,
that goes around a lot. That this lamb's fantastic, but you like arrogance. That bit.
Yeah, you can tell people like in the gym watching that being like, "Yeah, I am the best."
Yeah. It's about world class basics.
Yeah,
so it's about elite thinking. No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that idea of you've got to be a prick. But anyway, so loads of great ideas there. I think the cast is really, really good. I do think Bradley Cooper's pretty good in this. I think he carries a lot of it. He does make Adam an arsehole, but I do like that idea of as he moves from sort of arsehole to stoic to panicked, and he do see him become consumed by his ambitions to the point where he negates his own sort of health and essentially suffers a relapse of his addiction. And I think that's quite a moving moment, and Bradley Cooper has a lot to do in that moment. Sienna Miller, I think a lot rides on Sienna Miller in this. I think she's the real heart of the film. They work together really, really well. I know it was a conscious choice to cast them together because they're in, I think it's American Sniper together, which I haven't seen. No, I actually haven't seen it. There's really great supporting cast as well. So Omar Sy's in it, who plays the sort of the sous chef. Daniel Bruhl's in it. Uma Thurman's in it for about 30 seconds.
We'll touch on that and just like
she's certainly in it, isn't it? I think I think Matthew Rhys, who plays his sort of rival. He is excellent in this, and his character. I actually wanted to see more of his character.
Yeah,
I thought it was really.
I wrote in my notes, Matthew Rhys. Yes, anytime he shows up in a film,
he's
I'm
great.
So happy. He's got such an empathy and a sadness in his eyes.
Yeah,
I sort of like that tweet about the dog, the sadness in his eyes. But it's right. I think they should have pushed more on that rivalry, because I really, really like the rivalry that he has with him, and that it's very complex. It's not, two-dimensional.
The moment, isn't it, towards the end after he's relapsed, and he just goes, "You're better than me."
Yeah.
And it's that idea of, because you need to push all of us to be better. And I think basically what that scene is telling him is, you're the best chef in the world.
Yeah, he says.
And
you're better than me, so that makes you the best.
Yeah, basically. And I love that. He's equally arrogant. He's equally self-destructive. You don't see as much of it, but there's a bit where, because Bradley Cooper's character gets a good review, he smashes the shit out of his own restaurant.
And he also, though, they're not like 100% pricks to each other. Like when Bradley Cooper goes to his lunch night, he says, "Oh, I didn't invite her to." About Alicia Vikander. He's
Bradley
like,
Cooper's ex-girlfriend.
This isn't a chess move that I've done.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like I'm really sorry she's here. I didn't actually know she's going to be here, sort of thing. No, there's like I think, and again, it's quite complex. There's some elements of the script we'll come on to, but one thing the script does really well is there is a complexity and a layeredness there to some of the characters. Not all of the characters, which I imagine we're going to come on to, but some of the characters, and the main ones are Bradley Cooper's character and Matthew Rhys's character, with a little bit there of Omar Sy's character as well, I think, and maybe Daniel Bruhl's character as well. Then the other last thing for me on the likes is I do think there's some good emotionality in it. So the script's a real double-edged sword, which we'll come back to, but I think there's some good tension building, like scenes where Bradley Cooper's character is at the past, so he's leading the kitchen and telling everyone what to do. You do feel quite stressed. Like there's a scene which is particularly stressful where they have a meltdown. That's a very stressful scene to watch. It almost feels like it feels quite realistic. If you've ever seen the film Boiling Point, it's similar to that. And I think some of the same people were involved. I'm not sure if Stephen Knight, who's the writer of this and wrote Peaky Blinders and things like that, and 1,000 Blows, is the writer of this. And is the new Bond writer as well.
The start of Under Siege, there's quite a bit of kitchen stuff as well.
Yeah, start of Under Siege. Yeah. Thanks
Mrs.
for bringing that up.
She has to cook.
She cooks tits and stuff, doesn't she? In that. But yeah, there's some great emotionality, particularly around how far he pushes himself and that relapse scene, which we've talked about. I do like that relationship development with Matthew Rhys's character we've touched about. Do like that unabashed presentation of just what a prick he is. I do think it really comes into its own in its second half. I would probably say the first 20 minutes, first 15 minutes, a little bit ropey, but I do think there's some good amount of emotionality towards the end. That's it from me on the likes. What did you reckon? Because I don't think you were a massive fan of this because you hate cooking films.
What I would add to this is I think they do the world building really, really well. They tell you how the Michelin method works.
Yeah,
they tell you
that's another TikTok clip that comes up all the time.
They tell you what it means to have the 3 stars, and they do quite well at having. I can't remember she played Cinderella, but she only got
Lily
one
James.
scene. Yeah, Lily James has that one scene, which very good to have. I know nothing about cooking. Okay, well let me tell you. About cooking. They tell you how the kitchen operates. They tell you how it works with the maitre d'. All that world building, I think, is done really, really well. If you haven't, I would recommend people watch it. But if you haven't seen it, watch it before I tell you this, because it's got one of the best twists I've actually seen in a film.
Okay. Pause.
Yeah.
Go on.
When Michelle poisons the foods,
it's absolutely devastating.
I was actually watching it going, oh shit, wow. Yeah. And also I enjoyed it because I was like, yeah, he is a prick and he deserves it and everyone's forgiven him too easily. And it's nice to see, you know what, you're not just going to coast by on, oh, sorry. He really fucked over Michelle, didn't he?
Yeah, there's this. Yeah, he doesn't just like, oh, you're a bit of a prick to me. He literally goes, you ruined my restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he say something like you let rats into the restaurant and then called the health inspector, which is basically with the plot of Ratatouille. But
he should have just took his hat off, and the whole time he was working with a rat.
But no, the first time I watched this, I was similar to you. I was like, oh, everyone's just, he's sort of making his penance, and I was like, oh shit, no, there's like real world consequences for his actions here.
Yeah, and the way they have Omar Sy, who I think outside the film, if you know that actor, you've already got a like towards him. Like he's very likable in most films.
Yeah.
And the relationship they've set up was, this is his right-hand man who he trusts, and he's bringing him to these strangers. If someone's going to fuck him over, it's going to be one of these strangers who's going to mess something up accidentally. But this is his guy, you know. And that I was really pleased with that twist, because it didn't seem out of nowhere, because you can see the lengths that these chefs will go to and how extreme they are. And you can imagine someone being that petty to get revenge.
Yeah, I mean, there's even things like he makes amends with him, and then later on he belittles him.
Yeah.
And you can feel that sort of like, well, you fucked this guy over and got him back on side. And now you're like, I'm not talking to you at one point. And it's like, oh my God.
Do you think that's when he decided, or do you think he decided the whole time?
No, I think there's a moment that they hint at because when they first meet, they get into a scrap. He gets Bradley Cooper's character into a headlock, and then he stops.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the moment where he's like, do you know what? I'm going to fuck this guy over the long way, not the short way.
Yeah. I think when he says, I'm going for my third star, he's like, this is it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, his plan completely fails, but it doesn't matter. It's a good emotional moment.
I like that, like, everyone gets it as well. Daniel Bruhl isn't like, oh, fucking know what you're doing. He's like, everyone's like, yes, this is on you.
Yeah. You prick. And there is that thing of, and this is what I mean, like, in some elements, we'll get onto the script. In some elements, it does let it down, but in other elements, it's like they concentrated the complexity, and then everywhere else they went, oh, we'll just fill it in with a bit of dialogue here and there.
Yeah.
But in that bit, there is a complex layer of them all going, we've all worked really hard, and because you fucked him over, it could potentially mean nothing. So thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? You arsehole sort of thing.
Yeah, and you haven't made enough amends. Like, you can't just say sorry to someone and then, brush it off.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like...
So, see, I do have some nice stuff to say. I we've touched on the cast, but I actually think the cast around him out-act him, and that's because this is pre-Bradley Cooper desperate for that Oscar where he's doing stuff with Maestro.
Pre-Star is Born and Maestro.
And I actually think he struggles to keep up with, especially Sienna Miller. Like,
she's so good in this,
and
isn't she?
This character, the way she plays it could be in like a Michael Lee kitchen sink drama.
Yeah, could be like a Brenda Blethyn character or like something like that.
She's got such a rawness that even, it's one of them things where it's like, she is incredibly beautiful, but because she plays this as someone who is just an everyday chef. Unless if the camera shows up. And, in any other film, if you just had them both, you'd be like, no, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, that one's gorgeous over there. And she's
two attractive women.
But everyone's just like, oh, who the fuck's this dog?
Yeah.
But she does play it like, it's believable, that person who's like,
and she plays like the mum part really well. And like, there's even things like, there's a big blow up where he grabs her by the scruff of the neck, but then later on she's cooking the same dish and her daughter's like, oh, that again. And she's like, that. She's obviously as driven as he is.
Because that's something that I've known. I like a film that just shows me something I haven't seen before, and I've never seen a cooking movie where people get criticized and then you go, oh, she thinks he's a dick, but she's listened to what he's right. Said.
Yeah.
And she's gonna done it. If she just added some beans, you'd laugh at beans, bit of cheese.
Zell is a Scouse man at the table who wants turbot and beans.
The popcorns are not cooked well enough.
Anything else from you on the like section?
Just that there was a bit where Alicia Vikander gives the knives, the head dad's knives, who was like a big inspiration to him. And then you show him in the hotel and he's got the knives out on the bed. And I was like, is he going to have sex with the knives? A genuine
deleted scene.
That's why it's called Birds, Friction.
Why is it called Burnt, Jamie?
Well,
is it because he's not a very good chef then, is he?
Yeah, so it's not a case, it's not all I Robot thing where I'm shouting at you and telling you this is a terrible film.
Yeah. What about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was fine and you thought was fine?
Do we have to keep doing this?
Mr. Hyde's big hat and little legs, Jamie. You like them?
Go and listen to our League of Extraordinary Gentlemen episode if you want to hear the deep frustration where I bring Josh these great films and to reward me, he wastes 2 hours of my already limited life.
Pete's Dragon was all right. Anyway. Okay, so let's move on to the dislike section where we talk about anything we didn't like about the film, anything we'd change about the film, and then we'll move on to the critical reception. I haven't got loads for this, but I did say in the lead up, it is flawed. I've got one big dislike which I can go into, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, we'll go for your big dislike, see if we match.
Yeah. The script is such a double-edged sword. It is such a double-edged sword. Like, it's like a real blend of the subtle and the obvious, but also the complex. So things like, on the one hand, the things we've talked about those layered characters, about what they're willing to do, but then some of the dialogue in the first half is like really jarring. They just layer exposition in for no reason.
When we worked together in Paris, we were like brothers 2 years ago. The first 20 minutes, they're so desperate for you you called the health inspector on me. There's a bit where he finds out that, it was his name, Jean Paul or Jean...
the chef who passed away,
yeah.
Jean-Luc, I think.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's quite nice. And then Daniel Brühl goes, I know that you two are close. He might as well have been
I've just checked my notes and I wrote the exact same line. We were like brothers at Jean-Luc's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit, yeah.
You know, show us, don't tell us.
Yeah, no, like on one hand, you have these really complex characters, and on the other hand, like for example, Matthew Rhys's character has a really great scene about Salieri and Mozart and the Michelin star, and like explaining stuff and like how we rivals and how we balance each other out. Another scene that's really well written, like you say, is the Michelin star scene and how it all works. And then like at the beginning, you have like you say, we were like brothers, or you have Uma Thurman's character who has like 3 lines and one of them is just to tell you that she's a lesbian, which is fine. I'm all for diversity, but it's just it's completely pointless. Her character doesn't even need to have lines. You could just see his character speaking to her, somehow show that she's a food critic, and then have her show up at the restaurant. It doesn't need to be Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman's a great actress, but I don't know why she's in this. It literally looks like she was in London at the time, and they went, "Do you want 2 minutes in this?"
I personally don't think we should be silencing LGBT plus characters, Josh, but if you want to go down that route, that's fine. What I don't like is that they...
You're naughty, aren't you? Jamie doesn't speak for me.
He was such a shagger that they introduced Uma Thurman and she goes, even though I'm a lesbian, I slept at you. And you're like, oh, fuck it, we get it, he's cool. He rides a motorbike. Like that for me, I was like, and they didn't even do it well. They didn't even hint at it. She might as well have just looked down the camera and been like, I'm a lesbian, but I still shag this guy because that's how much he fucks.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at, because I do believe in representation, Jamie, despite what you think I've said to you privately. No, because even like I don't mind the handling of Daniel Brühl's character, and it doesn't actually outwardly say it. It more or less does, but it doesn't actually confirm it, I would say. I don't know. But yeah, so there's a real issue with the script. Like, for example, I do think we probably need to know a bit more about Adam as a character. Like, we see him be an absolute arsehole, like a real prick. Do we need to know a little bit more about why he'd work with him, apart from some throwaway dialogue about if this was music, he's the Rolling Stones, which is fine, that's great, but I do wonder if you need something, I don't know what, but more about like how great he was, because he's meant to have been the best of the best. You don't really see that, you just see him being a prick. So yeah, I mean, there is a question about, is he too much of a prick? But we'll come back to that. I'll let you pick that up. And then one last thing about the script and the dislikes. Michelin stars go to the restaurant, not the person. That makes no sense. He keeps going on about wanting his 3rd star. The restaurant would already have to have 2 stars. Anyway, I get the impression you got stuff to say. Time's ticking on. So what lay it on me, mate.
Do you know, it's not as bad as you think. I do think he doesn't manage to bring it back on how unlikable he is. I think Jack manages to do it with As Good As It Gets. But,
yes, it's a good comparison, yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't think he does it, and I think, as much as I like him, I think he is being out-acted, and you know that's the double-edged sword. If you surround yourself with Daniel Brühl, Sienna Miller, you need to really, get on their wavelength as well. And maybe it's a European versus American style of acting, but I really like Daniel Brühl in this. I think he's doing really subtle, nice stuff. It's his most likable I've ever seen him. I want to see more. Like, just lovely Daniel Brühl, where also it's the way he plays him. It's not, oh, I've completely forgiven you, and it's not, oh, I'm a complete prick to you. It's a nice in between where, he gets him kicked out the hotel, but Daniel Brühl is smarter. I thought it'd be that he pushes himself into the restaurant and then we're going to get him versus Daniel Brühl. He's trying to get him out.
Yeah, but it's more like a symbiotic. Okay, you're an arsehole, but you might be a helpful arsehole.
Yeah,
and then he makes him go and see Emma Thompson, who I've just remembered is in this.
Yeah. Do we need the Emma Thompson stuff, do you think?
But, well, yeah, they do really hammer home the fact he's got substance abuse issues. By then they go, oh, no, he really does, because he's going to go for a blood test.
You're not scared of needles, are you? You've obviously not read about my background.
But what else, right? Mate? Is he too much of a prick?
For me, he is. But again, I've said, like, I don't like chefs in general. I don't think he communicates to the team in the kitchen enough. I want to see that relationship more so that you can see that maybe change. Because he gets that guy from prison and then he never really talks to him again. He gets this young lad. So you're like, oh, so I want to see that young lad improve to the point that's like, oh, one day he'll own his own restaurant. For me, the big thing, maybe the ending, right? I think the win should be, like, obviously the win is that he sits down with them and he acknowledges everyone as a family.
Yeah, you don't find out if they got the star or not.
I think they kind of, it's done well that he doesn't, say, look at this, you've got the star. But I think he does get the star, doesn't he? Because
I think he probably does as well.
I don't think
based on his reaction to how much pressure he was under, he'd probably have lost his mind.
Yeah, he would have just jumped in that water. But I think it plays better if he doesn't get the star, but because this is about him slowing down. Surely, like it's
that personal redemption story.
Yeah, it's better if it's the win is not the star. The win is changing your outlook of how are we running this kitchen. Not that he's become all lovey dovey and he's like, is everyone okay? But that he's not so much of a perfectionist prick.
Yeah. Is he too much of a perfectionist prick? Like is the scene, you sort of pulled your face before when I said there's a bit scene where it does go a bit too far. Is it the scene where he grabs Sienna Miller or is it something else? Is it the scene where he makes an omelette in Lily James's kitchen while she's trying to sleep? It could be either of those two things.
I don't think it's the scene where he grabs, because in a way I feel like that's him not gendering Sienna Miller. Like, that he would
I get that.
Grab any of them. And also it's to show how far he's cracked. And she does go, don't you ever fucking touch me again.
Oh yeah, and I wasn't saying it because she's a woman. It was just, you don't grab someone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You don't physically assault someone.
I do think, I know they all revere him, but I do think realistically someone would have stepped in at that point in that kitchen and been like, you don't fucking touch.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
I've got a knife here, mate. So
yeah.
And the only other thing is you can't clean up a bruise. So when he's got a bruise on his back and she's like, let me clean that for you. He's like, that's a bruise. Don't clean that.
You can clean it up whilst he's waiting for his third personal Michelin star. Yeah, there are some holes in there. I mean, the script is a real double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, but, this isn't a complete scathing. And I would say watch it. Watch it for Sienna Miller and Danny Brühl and Omar Sy. But I do think Bradley Cooper struggles to keep up with them.
Okay, so let's move on to talking about the critical reception then. So just to remind everyone, I picked it because I think it's underseen and underrated. So we'll look at the scores and the box office. What we do is we take the IMDb score, the Rotten Tomatoes audience score, the Rotten Tomatoes critics score, average them out, and we have a little look at the box office as well. How would you rate this, Jamie? What would you give it?
Okay, so like we touched on, because it's not my kind of film. Me personally, I gave it a 5, but I can see it getting a 6 if you, if you like kitchen movies.
Yeah, I see. For me, it's probably a solid 6.5, 7. So, as I say, it's flawed, but I think there's enough complexity within those characters to like in there. Okay, well, I'm pleased to hear you say that. So, at the time of recording, over on IMDb, it gets 6.6 out of 10, which is okay. The real problem's over on Rotten Tomatoes, where the audience give it 45%, which I was quite surprised at, because I can imagine this being quite a crowd pleaser in many ways. The reason I picked it is the critics give it 29%. Because they really, really thought, they didn't like it. But that averages out at 46.6, so just over 4.5 out of 10, or 46%. Would we say that's underrated, mate?
Josh, I'm going to say it. I think that's underrated.
Do you think Burnt's underrated? Box office-wise, it made 36.6 million worldwide, which, when you think about that cast, I think that's wild.
Yeah, that's underseen and underrated. Like I say, give it a watch. I didn't feel like this was a waste of time.
No.
But I do. Do you know what? Imagine if you put Daniel Brühl in the Bradley Cooper part.
Yeah.
because he
and then put Bradley Cooper in the Daniel Bruhl part.
No, but Bradley Cooper in the Sienna Miller part, and then
Uma Thurman in the Daniel Bruhl part,
and then Omar Sy in the Uma Thurman part.
Yeah.
But I think,
where does Emma Thompson go in this? The Alicia Vikander part?
If you look at Rush, Daniel Bruhl can be an arrogant prick and still lovable.
He's Rush is a great film, and Daniel Bruhl's a great actor.
Yeah, I just think Bradley Cooper struggles a bit in this. But then maybe have they written him too much as a prick? But as we said, I do think it's underrated and underseen, Josh. So you win. I hope you're happy.
Thank you.
What a sad little life.
Enjoy the win, Josh. Speaking of cooking. Yes, so there we go. Burnt is underrated and underseen. Give it a watch if you like food films, or if you, like Jamie, and for some reason have a real aversion to food films, don't watch it, or maybe watch it for the character complexity. We'll be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch with us, it's filmsandthatpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias. If you just search for Just Films and That on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, we're on there. Give us a follow. We're always putting stuff on there. We're on Letterboxd as well. If you want to give us a follow, we always log all the films that we do, and I try and put some films that I watch on there as well. Everything is in the link tree in the show notes, so give it a click. Speaking of the show notes in the link tree, there's also a link to Jamie's other podcast, Best Movie 2. So Jamie, tell them a little bit about that.
It's a podcast that tells you what movie to watch in any given situation. Like what is the best movie to watch if you're hungry? What is the best movie to watch if your boss has just put his hands on you? Stuff like that. I'm on Letterboxd under Best Movie 2. I'm doing a project this year where I'm trying to watch 365 films I haven't seen in 2026.
And Burnt was one of them.
Am I married? No. Do I have kids? No, of course not. So I have this time in my life.
Have you watched Burnt on your own? Probably at a weird time, because that's when you watch your films.
I think I gave this 3.5 stars, which I was actually doing an intermittent fast when I watched this. So fuck you, Josh.
Well, there you go, the Best Movie 2, which Jamie just used to insult me. That's fine. The link's in the show description. Do give it a click. It's well worth a listen, because I am also on most of the episodes. We'll be back next week with an episode. Thank you very much for listening. It's goodbye from me. Cheerio.
Bye.